everybody. Johnny Guns Investigates. Happy Sunday, November 26th already. Can you believe it? The month is coming to an end. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Coming to you guys tonight. Don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, message in, and let's go ahead and talk about what I'm about ready to go over tonight. Because everybody pull up a chair, grab yourself a nice cup of coffee, like me, and let's enjoy a story telling, husband killing, pill popping, nut job. I'm going to need a cup of coffee for this one. So we're going to talk about Kouri Richins because everything's going on in the court right now in the hearings, getting ready for a trial, and everybody determining she going to get the death penalty, life in jail, what's going to happen to her, okay? Because we do know that in Utah where this happened, they do have the death penalty, and Utah still has the firing squad, okay? Shot to death. But anyway, so we're going to talk about Kouri Richins, what she did to her husband, allegedly murdering him. And we'll go over the story just so everybody knows, okay? And we'll start from the beginning. And there's some new things coming out of what's happening in her hearing, of what they're taking from her and what's going on and what they're going to go for. But we have Kouri Richins, okay, who's 35. Her husband is Eric, who's 39, who live in Utah. And Eric has a masonry company, which is run very well with a partner. And we have Kouri Richins in her dream fantasy world of being a real estate tycoon, buying $2 million homes to flip them to make money on, which didn't work out too well for her. And they have 3 boys, okay, that we all have to remember, okay. May 2023 changed the lives of not only Eric, but the 3 boys and their whole family, okay. We have to remember the 3 boys. And they were married in 2013. They were married 9 years, okay. Had a good marriage there in the beginning, you know. But what happened with Kouri is she was investing into these homes, okay, that were well over the means of her making a profit. $2 million homes, wanting to flip them over and make a profit. So it did not work, okay. So she did almost 4 homes that way, lost her life savings, okay. So she started going into her husband's money, okay, using his credit card, his bank accounts and things like that, because she knew she was losing everything. But on all this time, Kouri, here she has a plan. Hey, I'm just going to go ahead and do whatever I want to do into these homes and invest whatever I can, because I'm going to spend his money, and I'm going to have a plan to take him out one day and get some life insurances and then go on and have a happy life. This was in her mind right from the beginning, okay? Right from the beginning. So poor Eric is going to work every day, hard working, an amazing company, okay? Very successful, $1 million a year business, has a partner. He takes out life insurance policies, not only for his family, but also for his business. So if something does happen to him, he has a life insurance policy for the partner, so the business is still going on. And then this wife of his, okay, is losing everything, spending his money. And now in her mind, she's saying, hey, I'm going to take this guy out. I'm going to figure out a way to take him out. And she did, because on vacations, this is before all this, she tried to take him out before. He felt really sick and strange after eating a sandwich that she made for him while they were on vacation. So Eric already knew that his wife, there was a suspicion there that she may be trying to hurt him or take him out, man. You know what I mean? He had that suspicion. So when they come back from vacation, Eric uses his head, plan ahead, nut job wife. He moves all of his assets, life insurance policy, because the life insurance policy that he had for the business, for the partner to have if something happened to him, Kouri, his wife, moved it all over without him even knowing under her name. He moved all that out. And then there was also a couple of other life insurance policies that Eric had that he took out of his wife's name, Kouri's name, and moved it all over to his family members' name so that he would make sure his family has that money, which was his sister, to take care of his sons, 3 boys, if something happens to him. Because now Eric is getting nervous of his life with his nutjob wife that something might happen to him. Okay. So she's spending up all of his money, and here she's coming up with a plan to take him out. So what does she do? She goes to her her housekeeper, not a housewife, housekeeper, her Mexican housekeeper. She asks who is a drug dealer, Carmen Marie Lauder. Was dealing drugs, a known drug dealer, I guess, in criminal records. Okay. Well, this is their housekeeper. So Kouri goes to Maria and, hey, can you get me some pills? She doesn't tell her what it's for, I'm sure. You know what I mean? She just figured, hey, this rich American wants some pills, okay? Wine and pills. So she asked her to go ahead and get her some pills. So Maria, the housekeeper, go ahead for $900, gets her some doses of this fentanyl to take her husband out. Now, does the maid know what's going on or doesn't she know? We don't know. Okay. But anyway, she is dealing illegal drugs. No matter how we look at this maid is getting drugs illegally, purchasing, taking money, and giving them to Kouri a couple of different times at $900 a pop. And even during all this, too, conversation comes up with the maid here in this hearings and everything, said that she even asked for the stuff that Michael Jackson had. You have that Michael Jackson stuff? Can you get some of that? So not only was this lady trying to fentanyl up her husband, man, this freak job, and trying to kill her husband on fentanyl, she's trying to Michael Jackson him now with the pills that Michael Jackson took that wiped him out. So this housekeeper, I think, knew then what was going on, but she didn't care. She's getting $900 a pop, getting her these fentanyl pills. So the wife is going ahead. So we got Eric going to work every day, working his ass off. Okay, masonry company, hard work, working a lot of hours, doing his thing that he has to do for his family, his household. Comes home from work, sitting down, relaxing, thinking it's going to be a enjoyable night. Sitting on the patio, and here comes little Kouri, his wife. Hey, honey, let me make you one of those drinks you like. The Moscow Mule. She's going to make him a Moscow Mule, the drink he likes. So he's got his feet up, enjoying the outside on the patio, thinking he's got a good thing going on. She's bringing him these drinks that he doesn't realize. She's fentanyl him up on these pills, man. She's killing him. He had 5 times the legal dosage in his body that can ever be in anybody. She was pilling him up in these drinks. And who the hell knows what else she was putting them in? You know what I mean? He should have known better. The first time thinking your wife is going to take you down by putting poison or anything into you, get rid of her, man. Get rid of her. So the poor guy is drinking up these Moscow Mule drinks that he loves, filled up with these fentanyl that he had no idea about. Okay. So unfortunately, he's getting sick. Okay. Eric is getting sick. Always knew something was up. Thank God he switched over the life insurance policies, not only to his business partner, back to him on the one he had for his company, but also the 3 that he had for his family. And he moved those life insurance policies over to his sister. Thank goodness, okay? Because the housekeeper now, she can get nothing, man. She's been getting paid not only to clean the house, but getting $900 a pop. This guy's paying him. You damn sure know it wasn't coming from Kouri's bank account. That money was coming right out of Eric's account, right into Maria's account by killing his ass with these fentanyl pills or the Michael Jackson specials, whatever the hell they were ordering. I don't know. But anyway, so, okay. So unfortunately, Eric passes away. The guy's doped up, man. He's a zombie. Fentanyl. That's eventually going to stop the heart, right? And here he thinks he's having his nice little cocktail, and he's having it, man. This woman is a nut job. She planned it all the way from the beginning, like I said in my last show, guys. Remember, Johnny Guns Investigates. Hit the like, subscribe. Let's chat about this. This is a story. Here we go with another woman or a man. We're not, no discrimination here, whatever. Here it is where a woman kills the husband, to where she's so selfish because now she's suffering in jail, which we're going to see here soon on the video I have, to where, oh, I miss my kids, my kids, my kids. You should have thought about that shit before you're fentanyl up their dad and was killing off their father any which way you can to get all the money because you spent it all. You should have thought about your kids then, because now people like you, them are so selfish because who's going to suffer now are those 3 kids. Dad's dead, mom's in prison. What do? Forgive her for killing off dad? You're in jail? Or is she going to be in jail for life? Or are they going to put her death sentence? Well, that's what we're going to find out. All right, so she kills her husband. She's mourning. We're all sad now. My God, my husband, he was on pills. He must have overdosed. That's what she wants everybody to believe. My husband overdosed. He was taking pills. He must have just taken too much. I didn't know it was going out of hand. So she's putting on that role, man. And people believed her. People believed her, okay? So she's going on with life and going on with life. And then all of a sudden, bam, flip. She gets arrested for the murder of her husband. So now she has no money. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Before she gets arrested, okay, she understands that now the life insurance policies were not in her name no more. Forgot about this. This is the most important thing, okay, because here's where it all takes place. So she thinks she's going to be well off. All these life insurance policies coming to her that she thought she worked a good scheme on that's going to backfire on her. This is before she gets arrested now. So now she goes in there and she figures it out that he changed everything. Nothing is in her name. She is left in the wind, folks, in Utah. Nothing. He switched everything over to his family, and then the one for his business, the Mason Company, to his partner that he had, okay, that she tried to move a while ago. So now, God darn, what am I going to do? I have nothing. I have no money. So her head starts thinking again. Con artist, scammer, nut job. She comes up with saying, hey, my kids are crying every night. I have to comfort them every night. They lost their dad. She comes up with a storybook. She writes a storybook, a children's storybook. Yeah, a storybook. And thinks that's going to save her and she's going to make money. So she writes a storybook and puts it out there, and it's all going all selling, and she thinks she's in the free. But she lost everything because Eric took everything out of her name. So now she gets arrested. Okay. She gets arrested. Everything ends. But she still wrote that storybook. It's out there, which we're going to see it and everything. I'll have that for you guys there. And the name of it is Are You With Me? That's the name of her storybook that she wrote for her kids, because every night they were crying so hard and couldn't sleep because they lost their dad. Unreasonably knowing that the mother laying there with them was the one who took their father out. But they'll learn that when they get older. So here she writes a storybook. Didn't go too well. I mean, it's sold, but now she gets arrested. Killing the husband, allegedly. Goes to jail. She's in jail, pleading she did not do it. She did not kill her husband. Eric was addicted to pills. He went to Mexico a lot to get pills. That was her story. She's going with that, not changing her mind at all. She had nothing to do with it. Maid was there, gave up everything. Told them that she sold her pills. This is what they found in her body. Bam, she's locked up, convicted. Now, while she's in jail, we're going to go over this, and I know we did it over, but we have to relapse everything. She writes uh, a little letter, okay, while she's in jail, while they search her cell and everything, okay, uh, of Walk the Dog, it was called. And it was all about how her husband was addicted to these pills and having a problem with them and going to Mexico to a Mexican ranch, flying to Mexico to a Mexican ranch, which was run by the cartel, she said, and then coming back to America from Mexico with these pills, okay, with a brother, okay, which her brother's name is Ronnie, and Ronnie, which is 100% on her side right now too. So um, that's what she did in jail, writes this letter, okay, saying that her husband is addicted to all these pills. It's definitely not going that way for her. But Ronnie's 100% on her side, her brother, saying that there's no way she did it. She couldn't hurt a spider. She has not that kind of thing in her to do that to somebody. She loved her husband, Eric. Not true. But guys, let's watch this video from Sidebar. Awesome. Jesse did an awesome job on this, guys. We got to put it out to him. He's got a good video for us, some good footage. And let's talk about this. Johnny Guns Investigates. Hit the like, subscribe. Let's chat. Let's chat about this one. My God, is this a big one? All right, let's see what we got, and we'll talk about it.
As far as I can tell, exists statewide, nationwide. This case was covered by the BBC. I don't know that you will find a jurisdiction that is, certainly not the state of Utah, that is going to be materially different than Summit County in terms of its saturation of media coverage of this case.
It is the continuing criminal case of Kouri Richins, the woman accused of poisoning her husband to death and then afterwards writing a children's book about grief. Well, we've got some new updates for you, including her brother speaking out. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So I realized it's been a minute since we talked about arguably one of the most interesting cases to capture the nation's attention, also a really sad and frightening one. Kouri Richins, the 33-year-old woman accused of murdering her 39-year-old husband, Eric Richins. Now, I want to go over some of the relatively recent developments for those of you who haven't been following the case, but a little bit of backstory. So Eric and Richins, they were married in 2013. They have 3 sons together. They were living in Utah. He was operating a masonry business. And then in March of 2022, Eric is found dead in their home at the foot of his bed. And Richins is accused of poisoning Eric with a fentanyl cocktail. It would be determined that he had 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his body. And this is in stark contrast with what Richins told authorities, because she told authorities she simply prepared him a Moscow Mule before he went to sleep for the night. By the way, one of the reasons this story became so publicized is because after Richins' death, she published a children's book called Are You With Me? She said it was a way to help the couple's 3 young boys deal with the loss of their father. She even did an interview with ABC4 Good Things Utah.
I went on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and trying to find something that we could use to cope at nights. Nights are the hardest, it seems like, for everybody when, dealing with anything. But I just wanted some story to read to my kids at night. And I just could not find anything. I couldn't find anything that really, suited them or helped them find comfort and peace. And so, I was like, let's just write one.
She was charged the following month with his aggravated murder and drug possession with intent to distribute. Now, Kouri Richins' housekeeper, a convicted drug dealer named Carmen Marie Lauber, has allegedly confessed to authorities that she supplied Richins with 15 to 30 fentanyl pills on 2 separate occasions, approximately 1 month before Eric's death, and that Richins paid her about $900 each time. Come to find out also that this is not the only time that Richins allegedly poisoned Eric. It's been reported that Eric broke out in hives and had trouble breathing after eating a sandwich prepared by his wife the month before his death. And it's also been reported that Eric became ill in Greece a few years back when he was on a trip with Richins after she gave him a drink. He allegedly said that she was trying to kill him. And Eric even allegedly told loved ones if something happened to him, Richins was to blame. Now, again, some bad stuff here. We're going to get into more. She is innocent until proven guilty. Just laying out a little bit of the backstory. Hey, everybody, this is a Morgan & Morgan
Let me get rid
legal
of this
alert.
commercial
Evidence
here,
shows
guys.
that
Hold on
Google
1
has
second.
allegedly violated the people.com/.
All right, guys, here we go.
And first up, it concerns Richins' finances. Here's 3rd District Court Judge Richard Mrazek talking about it.
With respect to factor E1, the court finds that factor is satisfied as a matter of law by the court's determination that there is substantial evidence supporting the aggravated murder charge in this case. Regarding factor E2, the court acknowledges that the difficulty of recreating, chasing, and reversing any flow of funds or dissipation of assets that might occur during the pretrial period.
So, yes, the judge found
Freezing
here
her
that there is
assets.
enough evidence to freeze Richins' assets, meaning she can't transfer, change the title of, or pledge
Good.
any asset she or her realty company, Kouri Richins Realty, has. But the court established a constructive trust on all the property and assets of Richins and her company in case she needs to make a transfer or disbursement to fund her criminal defense. And that makes sense because the defendant has a Sixth Amendment right to counsel, and sometimes interfering substantially in the defendant's ability to pay their legal costs can be an issue. Now, the judge did allow Eric's family to maintain a financial interest in Kouri's estate. It's to be used as collateral if she were to move money or assets around that turns out they have a right to. But you also wouldn't order a trustee's bond or the appointment of a receiver in regards to Eric's estate. By the way, a side note, Richins is involved in a legal battle with Eric's family to determine who inherits his estate, and there's a separate wrongful death lawsuit that was filed against her by Eric's family. By the way, finances, generally speaking, they play a role here in this alleged murder plot. Leading up to Eric's death, he was reportedly fighting with Richins about her wanting to buy and flip a $2 million house, which she ended up closing on the day before he died. In the years prior to his death, she also allegedly purchased 4 life insurance policies on Eric in the millions of dollars, something that Eric was not aware of. He did find out, though, that she had allegedly been withdrawing money from his bank accounts, running up thousands of dollars on his credit cards, and misappropriating money that was intended to be used to pay taxes on Eric's business, seemingly for her own use. And then only a couple of months before Eric died, Richins is accused of changing a different life insurance policy to make herself the beneficiary instead of Eric's business partner. Eric found out. He changed it back to his business partner.
Yeah.
Richins is accused of then filing a new life insurance application for $100,000 on Eric's life. And that's not even all of it, because it's also been reported that behind Richins' back, Eric changed his will, created a trust, and granted his sister control
Good
over his
thinking,
estate.
Eric.
At one point, he was even looking into a possible divorce. And by the way, as I just said that, it made me think, doesn't that kind of sound like a prosecution's opening statement in Kouri Richins' criminal trial, right? Putting all of these pieces together about a plot to kill her husband. Okay, over now to another recent development, and this concerned where the judge in this case had to decide Richins' motion to dismiss the criminal case. And Richins' argument centered upon this letter that was found in her jail cell that was addressed to her mother. According to prosecutors, this letter provided instructions to Richins' brother to testify falsely, to create the narrative that Eric was getting drugs from Mexico, and that ties into the fentanyl that he died from, meaning that he overdosed from his own drugs. According to prosecutors, Richins, quote, concocts a false narrative for Ronald Darden, that's her brother, to repeat, whereby Eric told Ronnie that he got pain pills and fentanyl from Mexico from the workers at the ranch. Now, while prosecutors asserted that this appeared to be a form of witness tampering, Richins hasn't been charged with that. But prosecutors also wrote in their filing that this was not their only point of concern. They also talked about a different incident. Quote, significantly, on the morning of September 13th, 2023, on a video conference with Lisa Darden, that's Kouri's mother, the defendant held up yet another letter for her mother to read silently to herself. That letter was not found inside the defendant's cell. There is a strong inference that the September 13th, 2023 letter was destroyed or flushed. Now, Richins' legal team took major issues with what the prosecution did here. Her lawyer said that prosecutors engaged in misconduct by filing the letter alongside what they wrote in their legal briefs, their commentary. They said now the public, the media, they see all of this. And their argument was that what the prosecutors did here violated the court-imposed gag order in this case that prevents the parties from communicating about the case outside of court. Gag orders are a way to not taint a future jury pool. Also, Richins' lawyer said that prosecutors misconstrued what the letter was even about. So Richins moved to dismiss the case, but the judge here denied the motion.
The court simply isn't persuaded that the conduct at the Summit County Attorney's Office violates Rules 3.4 or 3.8 or has caused Ms. Richins a denial of due process or a denial of a right to a fair trial. The court is confident that it can preside over a sufficient or dire process to ensure that Ms. Richins does in fact receive a fair trial.
And what the judge ruled here makes sense, considering this is already such a public case with so much written about it. What you're really going to need is a careful jury selection process. That's going to be necessary here, and the judge feels confident that through the voir dire or jury selection process, you can weed out those people that shouldn't be there. Now, the judge also denied enforcing the gag order again or imposing sanctions on the prosecution. But another big development was that the judge denied the prosecutor's motion for a no-contact order between Richins and her mother and brother.
The defendant has a First Amendment right and to correspond with whom she pleases and to say what she likes as long as she doesn't do anything that requires a prior restraint justified by a sufficiently strong interest that countervails her First Amendment rights. Here, there's no evidence that she's done any such thing that requires her to be prohibited from speaking to any specific human being. The Walk the Dog letters have several plausible readings. It does not include any threats whatsoever or any other kind of communication that would typically justify a prior restraint on free speech. Moreover, there's no evidence that it was ever handed to anyone. And the state has it. So to the extent they need to cross-examine a witness or impeach a witness with its contents at trial, they would be able to do so absent some other ruling by the court excluding the letter or suppressing the search that found it.
So he acknowledged that there are different ways to interpret Richins' handwritten letter from jail. There's not enough evidence to warrant restricting her speech. And not to mention, as the judge laid out, this is a jail. Prosecutors can watch out for what she's doing in other ways, including if she makes a call on a recorded jailhouse phone line. By the way, talking about Kouri Richins' family, another development, her brother, Ronnie Darden, who we just talked about, well, he has now come out and spoke to the media. Specifically, here is what he said to KUTV2 News Salt Lake City.
First of all, that she's innocent. She absolutely did not and could never do this. My thoughts on it is accidental overdose. That's my opinion.
And he went on to say that he knows that she didn't do any of this because she can't even squash a spider. He says that he's worried about his sister's emotional state, that he speaks to her every day, that she misses her children, that she was crying. And he also said that she loved Eric, that the two of them had a great relationship. They were in the best spot. They had some ups and downs like you typically see in a marriage. And his biggest concern is finding an unbiased jury not tainted by the prosecution. Those were his words. Well, those are just some of the recent developments in the Kouri Richins case. And if something should unfold further, we will make sure to cover it. And that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody.
Guys,
thank you so much for joining us. As always,
what a video. Thank you guys over at Sidebar. That was awesome video. We love it. Guys, what do we do? What do we talk about? Let's chat. Come on, guys. Come on. Call in. Let's chat. Johnny Guns Investigates. Hit the like, subscribe. Well, this is a nut job. She had this plan, and then for her brother to sit there and say that she's 100% innocent. Come on, she was buying these pills from her Mexican housekeeper for $900 a hit, man, $900 a pop. But now, as she's in jail, is she able to talk to her family? Yes. Are they keeping her assets from her to be able to get into her bank and her money? No, she's not able to get into that. But she is able to pay for her defense. I mean, that's what you are able to do in this world. But here we have it, okay? Is her kids. Her kids. So now her family's out there fighting, and there's a lawsuit going on. Who's getting the kids? Who's getting the money? Who's getting the estates? What's going on? Number one thing is these kids are taken care of no matter what, because no, this mom put these kids in this situation by being a nut job, killing the dad, trying to plead that innocent, writing the storybook, faced a crime, because now we have to realize, guys, is she going to go to jail for life? Get the death penalty? Utah has a death penalty. They also have the firing squad, guys. Johnny Guns Investigation. Let's chat about this story. It's a big one. We're going to follow this all the way to the end, and see where it takes us, okay? Because her husband was not flying to Mexico with the cartel and picking up these pills at the cartel ranch and coming back to America with all these pills. Wasn't happening. She was putting them in his drink. Poor guy. Okay, guys, enjoy your night, Sunday. Tomorrow we're going to start another week. Johnny Guns Investigates coming to you guys. Hit the like, subscribe, November 26th. And guys, remember, be safe out there. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great night.